money wasn't enough. We competed against massive firms with massive marketing, so we needed to look bigger. I've always kept an eye on other people building what we're building, and frankly, Levrg is the only company I've seen in the market that is really building the same sales, marketing, growth-focused, offshore delivery that we are.
It's great to see you, and I thought we'd take this opportunity to explain how we came together and made and formed a strategic partnership. Perhaps you could kind of walk the audience through your decision-making process of evaluating other firms in the market, why you chose Levrg, and then we'll kind of dive into the skills and capabilities and so forth.
Totally, yeah. And it's always exciting to kind of give a look behind the curtain of what was the impetus behind a partnership and a relationship. And my view is look, that I'm incredibly passionate that the only way to get cost-effective, scalable, high-impact growth is with an innovative operating model that uses, offshore talent. I was a CMO. I felt that, having now run the biggest firm in that category with hundreds of clients, to see that and feel it. I'm convinced every day that the only way to deliver sort of next gen impact on sales, marketing, revenue growth is to have leverage in your model. And so, but through that, I've learned that, 2X has lots of things we're great at and lots of different markets of people that want to work with us. And in certain areas, our product just wasn't built to serve certain kinds of clients. Particularly entrepreneurial businesses that are still founder-led, that are still in the startup phase, that are sort of figuring things out for the first time. We've just frankly built our business more towards an enterprise-grade enterprise client set. And along the way, I've always kept an eye on other people building what we're building. And frankly, Levrg is the only company I've seen in the market that is really building the same sales, marketing, growth-focused, offshore delivery that we are, but is purpose building it for smaller businesses, the way you're productizing, the way that you're thinking about how to package and standardize and deliver, services that are custom built for an entrepreneur or a founder or a CEO or a company that's startup and scaling. I couldn't wait to partner with you when we first met, because we're two firms that have the same ideology and sort of different market segments we're focused on. And so why not take the learnings, the best practices, and make a, 1 + 1 = 5?
Well, on that, I'll tell the story of why we thought this was a great partnership and culminated. You had me at a saying that I've now used. It's almost like when your mentor passes things on, you pass it on, you pretend like it was your own. But you had this saying that I'll remember forever, and is, do you want to own a watermelon, a piece of a watermelon, or do you want to own a whole grape? And that was, like, as soon as you said that, it was like Jerry Maguire's "You Had Me at Hello." That very line, I backed up, talked to my wife about that, and it was like, he's so right. It's the coming together that makes sense. Is we're trying to serve as many customers as we can around the planet. It just happened that we're coming at this, and ironically, like Lego pieces, we're serving the commercial customer, the founder-led customer, and you're serving the global enterprise and global mid-market. And I'll tell my side of it. My side of it is, if you back up into my history, I built a successful global sales training company. And on the outside, everybody, all the accolades, the trophies that are on the wall and so forth, I felt like it was, from a vanity perspective, I was telling a lie, because we had built something really successful on the outside. But on the inside, we were a financial hot mess. And a lot of it was due to poor financial acumen, and a lot of it was due to the way that we were spending money on resources internally. I woke up one day in 2017, I had $1 million marketing team that was in Toronto, Canada. And unfortunately, I had a collision course with the financial brick wall, and it had me have to change my operating model. I took on a mentor, and Dom and I know the same mentor, and he helped me reframe looking at the denominator, how I was spending money. And the first thing that I looked at was human capital, my biggest operating expense. And through that reframe, I started to stop asking the question, why do I only hire people in Toronto, Canada? Why can't I use the globe as my talent acquisition strategy? Started identifying talent in the Philippines, India, Bangladesh, and so forth. And as soon as I had that talent in-house and it started to recorrect my business, kind of light bulbs went off. I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. I have improved gross margins and my cost of customer acquisition is improving. I'm improving profitability. And so we set out to create Get Levrg to serve the very people that I wish I had. And it was the founder. And a lot of times the founder were strapped with legacy bias, and we were taught and told that we've got to hire within the community, and that's just not the case. And I had so much more financial optionality now that I wanted to be able to give that back to the founder community. So we intentionally built Get Levrg to help founder-led businesses and the chief revenue officer and chief marketing officer that surround them. And then, of course, 2X, you serve the global enterprise. Maybe, Dom, talk a little bit about 2X and what you've learned over. You are the pioneer of this. You've kind of built it up, and to your point, the largest firm in the world that does this. What have you learned along that journey?
Yeah, and it started with me as a customer, the same way I think your business started with you as a customer of it. I was a CMO of a small company. It was a 10 million revenue business. It was founder run, founder led. And I had a couple $1 million marketing budget, which was amazing for a company of that size because the founder believed strongly that sales and marketing growth was what was going to power enterprise valuation and allow him to someday exit. And so, but even that money wasn't enough. We competed against massive firms with massive marketing, so we needed to look bigger. And so for me, I built a team offshore that became a shared service center for me. It gave me leverage. It helped me scale. It became the case study that we built 2X on, and that initial team of mine became the root of 2X that grew into the business now. That was 7 years ago. We've grown from sort of nothing to over 1,000 employees in those 7 years. So incredibly hyper growth business. It's doubled most years. And so that, we've learned how to build and run a, marketing focused managed services company, specifically for B2B marketing, which doesn't exist. And I spent a lot of time doing competitive research and doing market research. And we've had some really great firms also give us advice on this. And the category that we've built is one that exists for every other function in the business, right? It exists for IT, it exists for procurement, it exists for HR, finance and accounting. And yet marketing is mostly insourced with in-house expensive FTEs, but is also full of a bunch of run processes that can get delivered really well from other places around the world. Pull the costs down, give you more flexibility, bring in some expertise that you may not have, help you use the tech better. And so all of those things are sort of logical, execution run processes that global talent are amazing at delivering. And so what I've learned, one is how pervasive the problem is. So every go-to-market leader, which in smaller companies is the CEO, but every go-to-market leader is struggling with, I don't have enough time, budget, resources, skills, capacity, or money to deliver the growth goals that I have. And yet almost all of them are using a model where they're either insourcing a lot of resources or they're going to a US-based agency and spending 2 to 3 times as much as they would if they insourced it because they need the expertise. And in my view, the only way, what 2X has proven and what I've seen across our clients, the only way to deliver, profitable growth and profitable scale is to have an offshore-based execution model in your engine, in the right way, in the right areas, calibrated with the right, capacity and scale. And so I've learned that problem is everywhere, that this model that Get Levrg and 2X both deploy is still a rare model to find, which I think is one, great for us because it's a market opportunity, but also one that, we're in the emergence of a new category. We're in the emergence of a new type of business is being built. But I also see it's one that when you deploy it and it works, it's career changing. It's company trajectory changing. And it's the kind of thing that our clients will tell us, like, when I heard the story of what's possible, like, I can't unhear it. I can't think of a better way to do it. And one of our clients said, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I want everything that you have, because now it's a way to actually deliver all the dreams you have on the growth side. So I've seen proof and evidence that model is what growth leaders really need.
Yeah, and the same sort of thing at the small to medium business level. Once the CEO, the CFO start looking at the operating leverage framework of the opportunity cost of the talent in Toronto or Cleveland or San Francisco doing X tasks. And we call this doing $5 an hour tasks rather than focus on $500 an hour value creation, versus the opportunity cost of, as an example, using Get Leverage or 2X. They can't, you said something really powerful. They can't undo that in their mind. And now all of a sudden they start looking at the liability side of the balance sheet, and it grows and metastasizes as a real frustration. I can't believe I'm paying people to do these tasks that I know are not driving real value. Like, these are not the 2 or 3 real value drivers to the business. Other people could be focused on the strategy. We're struggling with the execution because nobody wants to do it, and we're paying a lot for that execution.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that the reason I think a lot of people are driven to this model is the power of the economics, and the cost savings real, and it's significant. But actually, what it is it's an unlock for getting more done. That's what we really need. Like, would we like less money on go-to-market? Sure. What we really want is more growth. The cure to the problem is generally not, I need to cost less. The problem is, I need to be bigger. I need more revenue.
Redeploy the savings. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And if you can take money that you have today that's in headcount and labor cost that can be delivered elsewhere, and then you can reinvest that money to more advertising spend, to more technology investments, to a VP that you really need to open a new program area or a new competency. Like, those are the things that will drive huge impact. And those are possible with an offshore delivery component in the mix. And so it's not about less cost. It's about redeploying the money and getting more growth.
Dom, excited for next steps.
Yeah, me too, man. It's going to be an awesome time. I'll give you a secret. The quote I gave you about the grape and the watermelon, I stole it from Mark Cuban. So you really? Give credit there. But we have proven that this business can be awesome and amazing and giant. And we look forward to helping Get Leverage realize the same size and scale that 2X has.
Amazing. Looking forward to it.
Thanks.